Alright, what's up guys? If you're a huge TMNT fan like I am, you probably got super excited when you saw that they were re-releasing a lot of the original Ninja Turtle action figures. Just one of the many toy lines that they're starting to bring back. So I went through and I just started seeking out these things and trying to find them. I don't have them all. There's a few figures that I just haven't gotten yet for no particular reason, but I do believe I have all the vehicles. As you can see, the pizza thrower back there, the Grand King Daddy of them all, the Technodrome, something I've wanted ever since I was a kid and never got, so absolutely jumped at this one. The TMNT Party Wagon, which is something I did have as a kid. Turtle Blimp, which I did not have. Most of these figures, I think, actually I want to say all of them I had as a kid. And, I mean, you know, they even started doing the, re-releasing the movie figurines too. The bendable ones. I mean, the packaging on these things are absolutely incredible. You know, they look almost exactly the way they did back in the late 80s and early 90s when they released these things. I mean, if you knew anything about the original, yeah, that's exactly what the packaging looked like, that's exactly what the figurine looked like, and that's exactly what the weapons rack and the weapon looked like. Now, obviously, there is some subtle differences, and if you didn't know any better, you would pick this thing up and would think that this is authentic. As I said, the back is a little bit different. The back art was slightly different than this. They had the characters, the good guys and the villains side by side, and the portrait and the bio of the character was down in the corner. Obviously, all the logos and everything and the information, the small print is totally different. And of course, they didn't have Nickelodeon on the back. They started releasing a lot of these things. You know, you have the 4 original figures, which I have right here. Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo. As I said, we'll just go through them real quick. You have the 4 movie figures. All the same. Leo, Raph, Donnie, and Mikey. And we'll compare these to the originals, which... Here's some of my original Turtles collection. These are the ones that I still have in my possession that I have also went and rebought. But I had a lot more of these when I was a kid. Missing a bunch of them, which I'm sure are long gone. But of the big pile that I have still, these ones here are the ones that... these are original, like I said, from 1987 to the mid-90s. They started releasing these things too. You had the Mutating Turtles. I don't know if you guys remember that. It transforms from the mutant turtle back down into the baby turtle and vice versa. And of course, you know, got them all. Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael. Had all 4 of these as a kid. I don't have these anymore. I'm really hoping that they continue to re-release these things because they are awesome. I mean, you got Master Splinter. Looks exactly the way he did, and it said we'll compare some of these at the end because Splinter's the one character that I do have. You have some more movie figurines, the villains from the Turtles 2 movie, Tokka and Rahzar. Of course, the big villain from Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze movie, Super Shredder. They even started releasing some secondary characters. Baxter Stockman, although Baxter, you know, he's a pretty major character. But this guy here, Ray Fillet, very minor character, but he had an action figure back in the day. Genghis Frog, one of the Turtles' allies. Of course, one of my all-time favorite Turtle characters, Casey Jones. And you even got the old foot soldier. I mean, looks pretty dang close to the original. This is what the original card backs look like. You had the good guys on the left, the bad guys on the right. The bio was at the bottom, and you had the story of the Turtles on top. These are 4 that I don't have right here. The storage shell ones. But I did have all 4 of them as a kid. I just haven't went and bought these yet. You look on the back of Ray Fillet, there's a couple that I don't have. April O'Neil, Mondo Gecko, Wingnut and Screw Loose, didn't pick that one up yet. Nor do I have Leatherhead. On top of the Technodrome, the main villains, of course, Rocksteady, Krang in his Bubble Walker, the Shredder, and of course Bebop. And don't forget one of the another secondary villain, but somebody I was really interested in as a kid was the Rat King, who I always would like to see more of, even though he looks like sadistic and crazy. But we will compare him to the original because he did have that crazy look on his face. I don't know why. And then of course you have the giant turtles, which they also had these, the 12-inch figures. I didn't have any of these as a kid, but I knew people that did, and I've always seen them, and I always wanted one. And Donatello was always my favorite. I think because he was the smartest, and in the the original Ninja Turtles game for the NES, Donatello was the best one. And he has, look at that bow staff. I mean, these things look exactly the way they did. And I always love how the big Donatello is similar, very similar, facial expression and in color to his normal size counterpart. Because of course all the turtles had a slightly different shade of green, along with different style belts to kind of differentiate them. Look, they all have slightly different facial expressions, and they're all a slightly different shade of green. Donatello is more brown. And as I said, of course, you got the vehicles. And I think the only knock about the vehicles is in the playset is that they are slightly smaller than they were originally. I don't have any of the original vehicles to compare side by side, and nor am I ever planning on taking any of this out of the box. But yeah, I think they're a little bit smaller than they were. But the figurines still fit on them. You got the old pizza thrower. This thing was really cool. It took batteries and it just launched pizzas out of it. The turtle blimp, which I never had, but I knew a buddy that did. And it's just like a beach ball type material. You just put air in it, and it's a little blimp. I always wanted to put helium in it and see how that worked out. Look, you even got the little mounting support on it. So if you did blow it up, you can hang it. And as I said earlier, I did have the turtle van, or the party wagon as they call it here. That's exactly how they looked. Of course, mine was missing all the spring-loaded door broke off. All the attachments were gone. The missiles were gone. But how cool is this thing? Fits all 4 turtles in it. Man, when you were a kid, this was the vehicle to have right here if you had all the Ninja Turtles. Of course, you get into the play sets, and like I said, this one here was the granddaddy of them all, other than maybe there's a couple other ones out there like the Castle Grayskull, USS Flag from G.I. Joe, and of course the headquarters for the real Ghostbusters. But I think this one here ranks up there with them. You have the Technodrome. Always wanted this as a kid, just never got it. And I'm hoping that they re-release the Turtles Lair, because that was something that you were able to attach to this and make an even bigger playset, because of course the Lair was underground in the sewer. The Technodrome was always mostly underground. But man, I would really love to open this thing up and check it out, because it is cool. I never got to play with it as a kid. I never knew anybody that had it. But I'm not like that. I can't do it. I have to keep this thing in its package. Alright, now we're going to start taking a look at some of these original figurines compared to the new ones. So we'll take a look at Rocksteady first. Here's the, obviously, the re-release of Rocksteady. Here's the original. Now, this thing has been heavily played with. This is the original Rocksteady. Now, when I say original, I mean it has the, if you know about these things, it has the soft head. The first ever run of Ninja Turtle figurines had soft heads. It's hard to tell since I haven't opened it up, but I think that is a soft head. It looks like it. But there are, like I said, there are slight differences. You can look at his wrist right there. His wrist guards, they're not colored in, but on the original they are. This is black and then this is green. The pants are a little bit different too. Just basic brown with green camo when the original has green and black camo. The belt looks like a different shade of green. I mean, they're just slight differences, and I'm assuming that is to probably try to keep resellers from trying to pawn these off and claim that they're original and charge more money for them. Next, we'll take a look at the movie star Leonardo, the Leonardo from Ninja Turtles 2. First thing you notice right away is that the re-release is a more vibrant shade of green. Now, and I know, like I said, these things are old and have been played with, but this figure was never that color before. You can even see the faces are a little bit different. They actually look better, I think, on the original. Like, the teeth are more filled out than they are here. They're just kind of blah. But a little bit, the spot layout are completely different. The black circles and the spots are more bold than they are here. But other than that, I mean, it looks pretty damn good. Here's the original Raphael compared to the re-release. As you can see, again, the shade of green is slightly different on the re-release. And the re-release also has the soft head, which the original, like I said, the original Turtle Run did. I had all of those original, but we had gotten, being played with, they have all been broken. And the second wave of turtle figurines we had have the hard head, but yeah, and the shell front is a little bit different, a different shade. That's more gold, that's more yellow. That looks like it may have some sort of a little bit of a eggshell type of finish on it, where that's really smooth. Master Splinter, actually I think the re-release version looks better, and this is another one of the originals because it has a soft head. But the eye in Splinter on the re-release is a lot better than the original. It's just very like just a plain white eye. You never had any of his pupils colored in or anything like that. Everything else about him looks pretty spot on. I noticed the other difference was like his little shoes and his tail wrap is a darker shade. That's not black, it's like really dark gray, where in the original they were a lighter shade of gray. Super Shredder's next. Big thing right off the bat. Original Super Shredder has a black helmet. Re-release Super Shredder has a gray helmet. I don't know why they did that. The shoulder pads look like they're a little bit more silver, a darker silver than on the original. And the he's missing a lot of his blades, but the one set of blades he does have on my figure is the same exact color as the shoulder pads. They're like a silver, more silver, and these are definitely more gray. And same with the belt, silver as opposed to gray. And the weapons as well. They're a little bit darker shade of gray, and like I said, I'm assuming that means that's because they don't want people using these things to try to claim that they're original. Alright, we'll look at two more. We got Casey Jones right here. This one, I think, is probably the most accurate out of all of them. You see, even the mask looks really good. Really good on the re-release. The color of the shirt is almost the same. The shoulder pad, a little bit of a different shade of orange. The pants, a little bit different of a shade of purple. I mean, as you can see, this thing is really dirty and worn out. You know, the colors look better, I think, on the re-release. Casey obviously got into a lawn mowing accident because he is missing half of his arm. But, you know, he's a crazy dude, so it wouldn't surprise me. The only other major difference I noticed is it's hard to see, but on his head, he just has black hair. Where his original version, for some reason, it has blue streaks in it. I don't know why he did, but the re-release version does not have that. I even still have, surprisingly, his golf bag and some of the weapons in it. It's a little bit of a different shade of green, but still, look at the detail. I mean, even, you know, the little X patches on it, like everything is there. They just knocked it out of the park with these things. The last one we'll take a look at is the Rat King, because I just think I was always interested in him on the show, and the character even more so. He just looks like an insane lunatic. I mean, just like, look, what in God's name? I always wondered why they just made him absolutely look like a nutcase. But a couple big details on this one, as you can see here, the original, the eyes are red, as they show on the card back. The re-release, they are not. They're actually flesh-colored eyes with black pupils. And I also noticed too that on the original figure, everything that's skin-colored on him is hard plastic. So you can see right here, it's hard plastic. On the re-release, it's not. It's painted. A couple other minor details, like the bone that's on his chest here is painted yellow. The bone on his arm painted yellow, as they're not here. Pants are a little bit different green, but still, I mean, it's the Rat King. And I do have his belt, as you can tell right away that the orange is a little bit more red on the re-release. But that's it, guys. This is the TMNT re-releases that have been coming out in the last couple of years. If you were interested in them, I hope this video helped you out to maybe put your interest back in the turtles, to go out and find them before they become scarce. I'm already seeing that a lot of these figures, when they get released, they're hard to find. They get bought up by the scalpers, and the only way to find them is on eBay, where they jack the price up to 2 or 3 times what they go for in stores. So if you're interested in these things, as you can see, they are very, very, very close to the original figures. And if you're a collector, or if you're a huge Ninja Turtles fan and you love these toys back in the day and you want that wave of nostalgia to hit you, I would recommend picking these things up, because they, as I said, unless you're sitting there looking at the original side by side, you will never know that these things are any different, and they look fantastic sitting on your shelf. So thank you everybody for watching, and we'll catch you next time.